ToyBiz launched the Marvel Legends line, it was incredibly popular, and they soon began to expand the range by producing figures in a different scale. So they looked at the 12-inch scale, and they started to produce quite a lot of characters in a very short period of time. But ultimately, this range would be short-lived, and very soon, Hasbro would take over the license in 2006 to start producing Marvel Legends figures. After rebranding the range, Hasbro soon got to work producing their own Marvel Legends figures. It wasn't long before they decided to continue with the 12-inch scale line as well. And during this time, they tweaked some old characters, but introduced a lot of brand new ones that had not been produced in this scale before. And as part of this, they would introduce a lot more villains into the series as well, which is fantastic. But unfortunately, the line wasn't readily adopted by a lot of fans. Hasbro certainly had some issues with their moulds and their articulation when they first took over the line, and it wouldn't be long before these figures started to become increasingly more difficult to get hold of, and the line ceased altogether. And for many years, it seemed as though this was the end of this scale. However, a few years ago, once rebranded yet again, the Marvel Legends lines began to flourish, and Hasbro resurrected the 12-inch line once more. This time, the line would focus on revisiting a few of the classic characters, but with improved moulds and brand new articulation. And today, I'm going to look at one of my favourites in the range, which was the Wolverine. Of course, this is based on his classic X-Men outfit. As you can see, he's packed with extras. The box is relatively simple and straightforward, and they've opted for photos instead of art on the side panels and the back packaging. Something that's really nice about this, though, is that it actually got a metallic sheen running throughout the box. So when you move it slightly, you can see different colours there, which is really nice. It just gives it an extra sense of fun, and it gives it a sense of feeling a lot more deluxe as well. Now, I have to say, I absolutely adore this mould. I think it's fantastic. And they haven't just scaled up the 6-inch version either, because there's a lot more detail here in terms of the moulding. There's lots of grooves on his arms, obviously to be his muscles and things like that, that went on the 6-inch scale. So this feels like a brand new mould to me, or an enhanced version of the mould, and it looks fantastic. And as you can see, there's just a lot more texture and detailing to this figure. You can see there's extra grooves in his boots, there's lots of the leather effect on his belt, and like I said, in his arms and in his gloves, there's a lot of texture in there. And overall, I just think the paint apps and the quality of the mould itself, I just think, he's perfectly in proportion, and it just looks fantastic. This is a really wonderful version of Wolverine, and it feels really authentic to the comics. The essence of the character seems to shine through in virtually every position you put him in, and he just looks absolutely brilliant. One of the things I love about the figure is just how well done the claws are. As you can see, they're individual pieces that actually fit into the grooves on the glove, which is brilliant. And one of the eternal battles that we have as collectors with Wolverine figures in general is that the claws can be problematic. They usually get bent or creased. No matter what you do with them, what style you use, there's always been issues with Wolverine claws in toys. Here, they are separate pieces, but they feel strong and sturdy, which is fantastic. And the other thing I really like about these claws is that they actually are curved at the top there. So again, very authentic, very accurate to the comics, which is lovely. And he's no slouch when it comes to articulation either. So his head does spin from side to side. It is on a ball joint there, and you can swap the heads out. It doesn't really look up very much, to be honest, but it does have great range of motion when it comes to looking down. I would notice as well that the ears are actually quite soft. They're a soft plastic, so that's nice. They're not too sharp, they're not too rigid, and there's a bit of give in them, which is lovely. Now, in terms of his shoulders, he actually has that great shoulder articulation. So there's a ball joint in the shoulder, but there's also that upper chest swivel that allows the arms to go all the way back as well, which is great. Obviously, there's the bicep swivel, which is cool, and the double jointed elbows. So fantastic range there of motions, really crucial for Wolverine, I think. Also, he has the wrist articulation as well, so of course they can spin round 360 degrees, and they can hinge forwards and backwards there as well with a good range of motion, so I think that looks great. He does have the chest articulation as well, that ball joint in the chest, which is great, so it's a little bit stiff. You have to really persevere with it, but it does work, and you can get an extra range of positions out of him using this, which is really good. He does of course also have the ab crunch as well, which is fantastic, so he can get really good positions looking all the way down there, and a really good distance back as well with the aid of that chest joint. So I think this is a fantastic range of motion. You couldn't really ask for more. His legs, of course, do have the ball jointed swivel there in the hip, so they do swing out, they do kick up, and of course a fair distance back, and together with the double jointed knees he can get his leg all the way back there, which is great. And of course he also has the ankle pivots there as well, which is great, so they can go forwards, backwards and swivel from side to side, but he's also got the toe articulation. In terms of extras, he also has a few accessories which are really fun. He comes with an alternative battle damaged head, which is great, so you can see bullet holes in the ears and the hair coming out of the mask, which is great. He has a Logan civilian head as well, which is lovely. He also has an option to have the mask down piece to go over his shoulders, which is great. And of course he has an extra pair of fists there without the claws, and an extra pair of shoulder pads that are also battle damaged with claw marks and bullet holes, which is brilliant. And here he is with the alternate battle head on and the battle damaged shoulder pads. I love this look. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Again, I love the snarling, mid-yell sort of face that he's got. I love the damage that it's actually taking a chunk out of the ear there. I think that's brilliant. Like I said, I love the hair coming through in the bullet holes overall. I just think it looks really visceral, and it's such a small change but makes such a big difference. Here he is with the civilian look, with the hood down, which I think looks great. I really like the sculpt. I'm not quite sure about the eyes though. They look a little bit off to me, but other than that, it's a lovely addition to have. I really like this hood piece. I love that it comes off. It's a separate piece. It feels it's a bit loose, but it looks great. I actually think it's a really good effect, and it definitely captures that idea that he's just a hard day in the X-Men, and he's taking his mask off there for a beer or whatever he's going to get, which I think is really cool. For the sake of size comparison, Wolverine is of course in scale, which is brilliant, absolutely fantastic. And here he is standing next to the Marvel Legends Hasbro Colossus from the same range. This looks pitch perfect to me. I love how these two measure up against each other. I think this looks really great. And putting them together is so much fun as you start to see what a full roster of X-Men might have looked like. It's absolutely fantastic. So I absolutely love this. Yeah, brilliant. Here he is standing next to the Hulk from the same lineup. I always had mixed feelings about this Hulk, and I think it's a real shame that the line seems to have stopped. It doesn't seem to be continuing, there doesn't seem to be any extra characters coming out, which is a real shame, because I think the Wolverine is a massive success in this range. He's just brilliant. There's definitely oddities with the Hulk, which I'll go into in another video, but the possibilities with this Wolverine figure are just endless, between his different looks, his articulation, his paint apps. It's just, for me, this is like a definitive Wolverine figure. It's absolutely wonderful, and I have to give Hasbro top marks, and I think he might just be one of my all-time favourite figures. I hope you enjoyed the vid. If you did, please do give it a like, and remember to subscribe, as I will be posting more videos soon.